Hi, I'm Representative jt-Wilcox, and I represent the small towns of the 2nd Legislative District. We just finished up about 10 days of floor action, and that happens during 2 or 3 periods in the course of a legislative session. And because I'm floor leader, my job is to help coordinate the debate for the Republicans in the House of Representatives. It was an interesting time, very strenuous. Normally I get here about 7 in the morning and often get home at 10 to 12 at night, depending on the way the day goes, and we handle a lot of bills. I think that there was over 300 bills voted across the floor in the last 10 days. And every session has some winners and losers. It also has a certain kind of character to it. And the character this year was very different to me. Now, many of you know that the House of Representatives is very closely divided. There's 51 Democrats and 47 Republicans. And so for a bill to pass, it has to have a fairly broad set of support. And many bills die because they just don't appeal to a broad enough cross-section, sometimes of both parties. The thing that has been interesting to me this year is the fact that the majority party really doesn't want to have a discussion on many issues. The majority party decides through the power of the majority what bills are going to come to the floor and even what amendments are going to be allowed to run. And to me, one of the most disappointing debates that we had this year was the debate regarding raising the state's minimum wage. This is an important debate because different parts of the state probably either benefit or are hurt based on what the minimum wage is. Seattle is a global hotspot, and having a higher minimum wage may be a positive thing for Seattle. If you represent the much less affluent rural areas, you have to be concerned that a higher minimum wage can seriously damage the economy and put people out of work in those parts of the state. And it deserves a strong debate. And here's what I object to about the way things happened over the last week. There were a number of good amendments proposed. Amendments, for example, that would allow a training wage so that young people would have a better opportunity for employment because Washington has one of the highest youth unemployment rates. Another idea was to apply some metrics so we can measure after a couple of years what a higher minimum wage actually did to employment across the state. Unfortunately, the majority ruled that those amendments couldn't even run. And to me, that means that they just don't want to have that debate. We would have roll called those amendments, and Democrats would have had an opportunity to vote on good amendments as well as Republicans. And the truth is, those amendments probably would have passed and modified the bill if they would have allowed to be run. But the majority party just couldn't stand up to a debate. Another bill that was an example, something like that, was a bill that was sponsored by a Democratic Representative Carlisle, and it had to do with ethics. It just said that there should be a 1-year cooling off period between the time that an elected official left office and the elected official went to work for a private company engaging in lobbying. That is not a bad idea, and I'm quite sure that we could have supported it if it was an even-handed bill. So we offered an amendment that said the same thing should apply to elected officials that go to work lobbying for the government. This is an example of how the majority party simply doesn't want the debate. And because we offered that amendment, the bill never ran, because they just didn't want to be on the record for having an even-handed ethics approach. Sadly, I think that that's going to continue as we go into the rest of the session, but we're going to work hard and try to be as fair as we can.